All right, folks, welcome to a new episode of Do Not Worry Reviews. I am Anthony, joined by Danny. Danny, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
We're here to talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5. This is the penultimate episode. We have one more episode to go. Before we get into anything, please take a second to like this video, leave a comment. What did you think of the episode? What do you think of the season so far? Subscribe to the channel, become a Do Not Warrior. Danny, before we get into anything involving this episode, I want to talk about 3 things we missed about last week's episode that I want to talk about. They still haven't.
Did we?
Just a few small things. So the guy that John Walker murdered on the stairs was actually the guy in the episode who talked about loving Captain America when he was a child. So that was extremely ironic that he's the one who ends up being murdered by Captain America.
Which one? Was it like
the Flag Smasher? First... He was at when they were at the burial thing. He's like, when I was a child, I used to love Captain America. So it's just funny that he's the one who got completely murdered.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool if I gave a shit about the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, exactly. It's just funny. Also, ironically, the Flag Smasher got smashed by a flag as well.
Okay, good.
And one last thing, which was pointed out in the comments, actually, Bucky's arm, when the Wakandan, when the Dora Milaje was able to just get his arm to fall off.
Right. That was super cool.
That was cool. That didn't play into this episode. Do we think they're trying to set something up where
I think they're the only ones that can do it. I don't think anybody else can. So I don't think it's going to be that big of, this episode, they kind of turned off Bucky's arm when they wanted it to.
Yeah.
It was sparking.
Yeah, for like a random moment.
It was like a malfunction. I don't think it's going to be a big, I just think they wanted to show how badass the Dora Milaje are, and that don't forget who gave you the shit. Don't forget who kind of, White Wolf who trained you, all that stuff. I don't think it's bigger than that. I don't think it's gonna be a bigger part. But that was such a cool moment. I mean, they're doing the Wakandans right, and this show, this episode, it kind of peaked. We're good. We're good for what the show was supposed to be, I think.
So let's get into. I love this episode. I agree with you just about Bucky's arm thing. I think if it comes up, I think it was to show that he's still under someone's control. Like, he's never fully free. There's always someone out there that can somewhat control him. And maybe a wall is gonna fall on him at the finale, and he has to get rid of the arm so he can run away or something. Wait, this episode 5, I fucking love this episode. Let's give our quick overview of the episode, and then we'll get into the details and we'll break it down. I'll start with you. What did you think overall about episode 5?
I think it was a great episode. I really think the show is getting better. This is one of those shows that is getting better as it goes. It's self-correcting. The show has been self-correcting a lot of things I did not like about the first couple of episodes. It's self-corrected like a motherfucker. The relationship between the relationship between Bucky and Sam is so organic, fun, lighthearted, everything. It was because in the beginning it was cringy. Episode 1, it was cringy. It was they're forcing a relationship down our throats. Now it's they don't love each other, they don't adore each other, but they're there for one another. They're being comfortable. They took out my boy Zemo, but it makes sense. We called it. That's where he's going, which is the best place we can park him. We can use him in other things, Zemo went out like a G. He still had the last word, he didn't care if he didn't care if he was going to get shot or not. They're doing great things. We're going to talk about U.S. agent and what's his name, fake Captain America Walker,
John Walker.
Yeah, they're doing great things with that. I really liked the episode. This episode was the heart of the season. And I think we know what's going to happen the next episode. Sort of like WandaVision, there's big plots that kind of fizzled out and don't really matter. Who's the power broker? I'm pretty sure it's what's her name.
I stopped giving a fuck about the power broker at this point. And we're gonna talk about it later, but does it even matter at this point? There's no left. I'm not invested in the power broker.
There's no big villain. Zemo did not end up to be the big bad. What I like about these shows is that they reach where they want to go, right? So before I mean, on plot, it wasn't really rich on plot. It didn't take the the series into like unveiling a new villain. None of that. It just expanded the heart, which is the theme of what is this shield, this Captain America symbol, and its value for
Mhm.
Sam, who's an African American, and what it means to him to hold that shield, and is it shameful? And I mean, they said a lot of things you were saying, like, would a black man even hold that shield? It represents
Oh
nothing
yeah,
but,
yeah. I wrote down a bunch of Isaiah Bradley quotes that we're going to go over very diligently. But I agree with you. This is my favorite episode of the season so far. I love that we actually start with the action sequence, with the fight scene with John Walker. And then the rest of the episode, we spend that time with the characters, winding down, getting to know them, getting to all that emotional stuff and the character work, ready for the big finale in episode 6. So it was great. And let's start with that opening fight. So Bucky, Sam, and John Walker are fighting in that warehouse. John Walker's like running away from like whatever the
Yeah.
murder he just committed. He's like he's struggling with what happened. And like you kind of feel bad for him at some points. Like this episode did a good job of, yeah, you hate him and you love to hate him, but I did feel some pity for him throughout this episode. So
Yeah, because they kind of like slapped a a shield on him and told him you're Captain America, and he's like, I'm trying to be what you want me to be. Nobody told me how to do this. I mean, Steve Rogers is still holding the weight of the shield till the last, till the last day, and this poor kid who's just like a dumbass American,
he's losing his shit. This guy's losing it. Like he starts like, I am Captain America. So Sam and Bucky show up. They're like, dude, give us the shield. He's like, oh, that's what it's all about. You want the shield? You guys don't want to do this. Then Bucky's like, yeah, we do. Fucking amazing line. They go at it. I thought it was a great fight. I agree that when Bucky's arm starts like spazzing out, I was like, that's a little weird. Convenient.
Yeah, that's something the show keeps doing is they keep powering down Bucky because Bucky is a beast. Like he's an assassin that's been trained to kill with a vibranium arm.
Yeah.
and a super soldier serum.
Yeah.
So they keep powering him down to kind of like fit the situation, like to give Sam some couple of jabs. Like Bucky could have kicked his ass. I mean, but Bucky almost took down. You remember? And I don't want to be that geek who's like power, but Bucky almost took down Captain America in the same fight, with a shield and a. So now this. Yeah, but I get it. I want to see Sam, do
some people will make the argument that Captain America was never fighting at like his full strength, rarely fighting at his full strength against Bucky because he never really wanted to hurt Bucky, stuff like that. Right. But like,
I'm a Winter Soldier fan, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. He's basically a more badass Captain America with a metal arm, just like on top of it all.
It's just like, yeah, definitely.
I enjoyed the fight.
Great fight, though. I mean, story-wise, it was an awesome fight.
He rips off Sam's wings. Those are completely gone. They end up breaking his arm off. They take off the shield. They take the shield. What I like too, like visually, every time John would say something, they'd like zoom in on the bloody shield and they'd show you the blood dripping. But he's like, I did the right thing. Zoom in on the shield, blood. Like they really.
And you had Sam trying to wipe off the blood. That was kind of cool too. Like,
it was.
It was dope.
Then we get to the court case. This is where, like, not the court case, but like just that court scene with John Walker walking in. What I thought was missing from the episode, that's one of my minor complaints. I don't feel we got enough international perspective. Like right away they get to the court case. I would have loved just a scene of like some French guy being like, this damn Captain America killing people in other like something just to show us how the rest of the world is reacting to this, not just the people filming at the end of the last episode. I would have liked just one moment like that.
We sort of have, what's his name, Torres, the army dude.
Yeah.
He's the guy that kind of explains what's happening on the news. Yeah, the government is angry, bro.
I would like he's just
yeah. Like, yo, top brass is angry, bro. Like, yo, like he keeps explaining to us what's happening. And I had to Google him because I don't know much about Falcon, and apparently he's kind of like a some sort of bird type.
I think he ends
hero as well.
Because one moment Sam sort of leaves the wings with him, and I'm guessing that's the show giving us a nod that guy might end up being Falcon at
Yeah,
some
yeah.
point.
I mean, it probably won't, but they're setting up all these characters, left and right, so that's cool. But that was cool. That was cool how like I like when he said like they're humanizing Walker.
Yeah.
Like he's not this crazy guy. He has a wife, he's just a guy who's confused and he fucked up and he doesn't know what to do and then that great scene with the famous cameo that they kept hyping up.
I don't know if I love. So just back to Walker, what he does say, and that's stuff that you talked about before. And you're like, they just slapped the shield on him. He's like, I lived my life by your mandates. He's like, you made me. You literally made me, and like you're basically throwing me out like back on the street. So he gets discharged. And yeah, at first I thought it was the power broker. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, that's probably the power broker. This is the person they've been teasing. Then she mentions that like she's Contessa. I forgot the name. Valerie DeFontaine. I don't know that character.
Yeah.
I had to
Me
Google her.
neither. I googled her as well. I think she's like some sort of shield Hydra. I didn't want to go too deep. I think what they're doing with that is the Thunderbolts. Do you
Yeah.
think that's? I mean,
And
that's
with
yeah.
Zemo going to the raft, and with I think Thunderbolt Ross being kind of the head of the raft. And we kind of talked about that like a couple of episodes ago, that they're probably setting that up. And I'm guessing Zemo is going to be an essential part, if not like the sub leader under Ross, who might lead the Thunderbolts. So
We did not talk about that, but I would like to talk about that. We never talked about the Thunderbolts.
quickly, we mentioned it quickly. Like that they might be going there,
Yeah.
setting up these villains, and
So
then we.
for people who don't know what the Thunderbolts are, they're like the Marvel version of Suicide Squad. So it's a bunch of like villains and non like clean heroes becoming a squad, and I guess they announced that they're doing a Thunderbolts show.
Not yet, but like it's just
Not really.
It's looking like that. It's looking like
Okay.
that. So far,
I
nothing.
thought they did. Okay. That's what you think they're taking him with that, right? I don't think they're taking him somewhere else. Like, I don't think there's going to be the last episode is just going to be, the final showdown. That's it. There's no more like reveals or.
I thought. I mean, I'm not. I won't tell you I'm 100% sure Zemo won't show up in the last episode. Like, I've been behind this all along. I'm the power broker. So maybe, but like, I mean, the Wakandans are taking him to the raft. I'm pretty sure he's there until someone needs him later down the line. I'm pretty sure he's out of the picture. But so
Yeah.
the Contessa, I'm guessing she's also might be used as like the TV universe's Nick Fury. Like she might be popping into different shows, being that connective tissue, like behind the scenes double agent. She's good. She's bad.
Yeah, definitely they wouldn't bring such a big caliber actress to just put her in one show.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, they're not going to be doing, I mean, from what I read, they're not really planning for any season 2s until the show's kind of like WandaVision is making them change their mind because it was so big, but there's no plans for season 2s at the moment. So Winter Soldier and Falcon is going to wrap up whatever story it's going for and kind of leave the characters where they want them to be, to kind of catch up, whether in the next movie or the next show. But I like this. I like that there's because I really don't want a repeat of, Netflix Marvel. I want these shows, like, I don't mind if there's no Winter Soldier Falcon series, but I'd like to see the Falcon and Winter Soldier maybe in other series and other movies.
This show lends itself to a season 2 better than WandaVision. WandaVision was so contained and so specific. This is a buddy cop thing between, like, it could become, maybe season 2 could become Captain America and the White Wolf or something like that. Like,
that would be
their
cool.
growth. But so after they have that meeting, anything, I was intrigued, but also not that intrigued because it just felt like set up for something. So I'm like, okay, cool little cameo. I assumed it was the power broker at first, but then she said her name. I'm like, this sounds too fancy to be the power broker.
They fucked up with the power broker. Again, why make him why reference him so much? Why call an episode after him? Like, even if it was her or if it was Shannon Carter, it wouldn't, it's so anticlimactic. Like, they keep doing this again and again. Like, stop. I get it. Nobody gave a shit about the power broker. It's not like somebody was clamoring. Like, most of the stuff in WandaVision was our fault. We thought like Mephisto was I get it, besides the whole Quicksilver thing. But this time around, come on, power broker, I'm sure it's nobody. I'm sure it's not going to be a part. I mean, even if it's Zemo, it's what is it going to be? A stinger? Like he's khalas. No, we're gonna have a whole episode at the GCR.
It's
You
GR, yeah,
know,
it's pointless, and I also feel, which I was going to ask you, like the show has enough going on between John Walker's plot line, between Sam grappling with being Captain America, between the Smack Flashers, the Flag Smashers.
Smack Flashers.
That should be their new
That's a
name.
better name.
That's a
I
better
agree.
name. Like, do we also need the Power Broker reveal? And like, unless they don't have time to introduce a new character or a new actor,
And who the hell? No, we don't. We don't. To answer is no, we don't. We already have a very good villain in what's his name, in Walker, and they have not let go of the Smack Flashers. So they're still around. They're still doing their whole flash mob thing. Man, they remind me of a flash mob. Like that's all they.
Okay, so let's jump to the end real quick, because that scene bothered me so much. She's just sitting in Central Park and like. And these random fucking people, some of them are like 50 years old, out of shape.
Yeah. My uncle was one of them. He's just like, I'm here. I'm a Smack Flasher.
It felt so cheap. It felt so stupid. They're like sitting in Central Park, dude, these wanted terrorists. No masks, nothing. They're looking at weapons and grenades in the middle of Central Park. No one cares. Then they just whistle and 40 random people.
I hate her. I do not like anything about what's her name, Berthy Ronenthal, the Flag Smashers,
Carly Morgenthau.
And everybody's like, "Yo, man, she's good. We need to catch Carly." I liked how the script keeps telling us how good she is at being a terrorist.
Yeah, horrible.
Like, yo, she good. She's really good. I'm like, I can't see that she's good. She's annoying. She's a little shit, and she's whiny, and she does not own up to her mistakes. Like she got one of her boys killed. And it's like there's no, she's working with George, our favorite villain, George, for the first episode.
To be fair, I hate all of them. I hate the guy, the Asian dude with the long hair. I hate him. They're all
They're
all bad actors come into the Flag Smashers. They're fucking horrible.
100%. And what's his name? George St. Pierre.
The
UFC guy. They bring him back. I would like to kill the Falcon, and she calls him George. Like he doesn't even have a nickname. Like it's like the villain George. George the villain is back.
It's funny, yeah. They do the whole thing with Sharon. She calls him up like, "Hey, I need you to go do." So they're trying to make us think she's the power broker, but I'm like, at that point, that would be way too obvious.
Oh, was she talking to him?
She was talking to him. He was yelling in French. So she broke him out of prison. She sent him to the Flag Smashers. I'm sure she doesn't really want to kill Sam. She knows Sam is going to beat the guy's ass. So they're trying to make us think she's a villain.
This is poorly done. Like all this is very poorly done.
I heard that.
I didn't even know she was talking to her. She was talking to him.
I caught it on the second episode because the first time I couldn't hear what was being said on the phone. The second time I heard the French way more clearly. I was like, "Oh, that's Batroc, the Leaper." So it was bad.
Is that him?
Yeah, it's him. It's that fucker.
Why do they call him George?
I guess it's his first name. Hey, I'm George. On weekdays, call me George. So yeah, again, I don't know what they're setting up with Sharon. It's very. I think COVID got in the way of the show. So apparently, a lot of things have changed. I think she's one of those Dahaya. She's one of the victims.
Victims of COVID. Oh my God. That whole part. Why don't they do more with what's her name? Nick Fury's second in command. That chick from
Colby Smollett. I forgot her name.
Yeah, she's a good actress. They didn't do shit with her. Like she should have been around. I mean, they put her in Agents of Shields or something, but
she'll probably come back. She's one of those evergreen characters, but I guess they're distancing themselves from Shield a little bit. We're doing less Shield.
Restore the Shield verse. That's what I want to start.
No, you know what? I'm good.
No, I'm good.
We then have the Zemo Memorial. He goes to his family's memorial in Sokovia. Bucky shows up, sort of points the gun at his face. They make you think he's going to shoot him, drops the bullets.
That was a very cool moment. I mean, that was because
it was a cool moment. Yeah,
I love Zemo. They wrote him so well. He had the last. I don't think he's going to come back. There's no reveal because like he's so true to his like he's still sticking to that list. I had forgotten about the list. Like, you're not on my list, and I'll remove you from the list. Like, that was
Yeah,
cool.
I love how presumptuous he was. Like, I've taken the liberty of removing myself from your book. He's like, oh, okay, thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
motherfucker. So yeah, the Wakandans show up. I love that it's the same three Wakandans. It's just those three. Like, that's where you're reminded it's a TV show. Like, boom, they're like, hey, we're here.
yeah.
They take him on that ship. He's out. He's going to the raft. Then that is probably one of the most powerful parts of this whole season. Sam goes to visit Isaiah Bradley, and
Right. The,
this is where like Disney did not shy away from race, from the like those conversations. And like a young black man just got shot in the US like 3 fucking days ago. This is happening right now.
right.
This was more relevant than ever. This was so timely. And I love that a superhero show can spread that message, because you know millions of people are gonna fucking watch this. It does it in such a good fucking way. Everyone's gonna take something away from this. Just, I'm sorry to go on, but like there's just a couple of lines like where he tells basically those stars and stripes mean nothing good to me. He's like, Sam tells him, I need to understand. He's like, you understand. Every black man does. If you ain't bitter, you're blind. Like, there's another scene where he's like, they erased me from
Yeah.
history, but they've been doing that for 500 years. Pledge allegiance to that, my brother. And then probably like the most uh, heartbreaking line, they will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self respecting black man would ever want to be. So that right there is Sam's struggle in that
Yeah.
line. What do I do? What did you think of that scene? Isaiah's fucking like dropping truth bombs and shit.
I think it was so on point. Like, it did not overstay its welcome. It was nice, no fat, short, well, like poignant, and it put Sam in such an amazing point in the
Mm-hmm.
in the storytelling. Like, this is a young black man who's been sort of, I mean, I really believe, and this is me as a teacher, as a filmmaker, the Marvel Universe, the storytelling of the Marvel Universe should be in some sort of case study. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean this as a fan, because the way they took Sam Wilson as this sort of sidekick to a white symbol,
Mm-hmm.
Captain America is a white symbol, and he's the whitest thing ever, Chris Evans, right? And now we put him in a situation where he has to inherit that, but he feels shame to inherit it because it's stained with blood and the shameful history. And what does he do? He doesn't know what to do. It made it such a good moment, and at the end it did not glorify it. Like, Isaiah did not say like, yo, that shield is an honor and you need to carry it. He's like, no, that shield is shameful.
Don't
And
even
why
take
the
it
hell?
out. He's like, don't even take it
Yeah,
out of the leather case. Like, you leave that shit in there, man. I don't want to look at that
yeah.
thing.
And it wasn't overly cheesy. It was not, and although probably Sam will end the show carrying the shield, that's the only thing he can do is to keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they tainted the shield and yet pushed him forward to, like, they owned the shame of being the Redskins, which is awesome. They didn't clean it, they didn't whitewash it, which was the fear of,
Yeah, and he
and
he
they
has.
and they
Go ahead.
sorry, they
No,
even
no.
throw shade at Captain America. He's like, we've been following around that big white hope. I mean, and they what's his name? Sam's like, Steve didn't know about this, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
answer. Like, they don't
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, Steve won. If he knew, he would have. We don't know. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Like, because Steve was also just, I mean, as Bucky shows us, Steve was just a teenager. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He barely understood what the hell he was doing. So yeah.
No, it was, and there's also that great moment that draws a parallel between Isaiah and Steve. Isaiah tells him like, I broke out of the facility to save my brothers who were being held captive. Steve did the same thing in the first Avenger. He went to save Bucky and like 100 other soldiers, I can't remember, brought them
They
back.
made him a hero.
They made him a hero. And
Yeah.
that guy does the same thing and they throw him in jail. So I love that they draw that parallel. But yeah, Isaiah is worthy of being Captain America. The guy does the
And
right thing.
there's a lot of historical, like, very deep cuts. Like, there's it's well known that the US government used to experiment on African Americans, like with, with vaccines and the various viruses
Yeah,
and
but
all that stuff.
it's so
Yeah,
fucked.
so
And he even
yeah,
mentions the Red Tails after they come back from war. They're treated like shit in the United States,
yeah,
even after they help them win the fucking war abroad. Um, I'm just impressed that Disney honestly let that happen because the movies they flirt with these big ideas, but they never explore them. And I get it.
right.
There's not much time to do that. But I mean, kids are gonna watch this, little white kids, and I think they're gonna learn something from this dude. You know what I mean?
I hope so. I mean, I hope so. The way America is being right now, I really hope so. And I mean, what they did with WandaVision, with grief,
Mhm.
not shying away from how grief hurts you and how deep it pulls you down. And now what they're doing with, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and showing like PTSD at Bucky, and the whole weight of responsibility with Sam, responsibility towards his own family,
Mhm.
towards his own country, towards himself, towards his mentor. Like, Sam is torn by responsibility, and the way he deals with it is by doing some bomb ass capoeira and throwing the shield around. That capoeira was unnecessary. I'm sorry. I know I'm shifting towards.
I like it because because he doesn't have the super serum, so he needs to make it his
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
They need
I love
the Rocky. We got a Rocky montage with a shield. That was fucking
that
awesome.
that whole part of Bucky staying in the South, hitting on his sister.
The whole yeah.
Give.
I love we got two montages in this episode, two brilliant montages. Sam and Bucky working together with the neighborhood, fixing the fishing boat. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
that
and
was
B
great.
something I learned while watching Hot Ones with Anthony Mackie. So Anthony Mackie's actually like a fisherman. He loves fishing. So I love that they worked that into the character and they made Sam a fisherman. They have a fishing boat. He loves fishing. So I just think that's cool. But yeah, I love that the bonding between them. I love the conversation Sam has with his sister and telling her that, I get why Isaiah believes what he believes, but I'm also not going to stop fighting and I'm going to take on the responsibility and keep fighting. I love that. But yeah, I also love Sam and Bucky throwing the shield around and then Sam counseling Bucky, giving him some amazing advice. Like, you don't need to
Because that's
please.
what he does.
That's what
Because
he
that's what he
does.
does.
That's
Again, we go back to that's what he does. Unlike, again, I will always compare because that's what we do. You see Batman in Snyderverse, he's nothing like he is.
I know.
He's like he is what the scene needs to be. And Sam, like, we're still hanging on to this, like, to his job from Civil War, which is he
No.
counsels soldiers, and
It's
that's what he does with Bucky. That's what he does with Carlingthal, Carly
Carly.
Morningthal.
I was thinking about this yesterday. I thought you would like this. And again, we're going to shit on
Yeah.
DC just a little bit. Isn't it weird that we care so much more about Sam and Bucky than we did about Batman and Superman?
And
And
the Flash and all these characters. Oh
Sam
my god.
and Bucky, the shitty sidekicks to Captain America. I felt so much for them. And I get it. They have their own TV show now, but like, Snyder Cut was 4 fucking hours. You could have made me care about Batman then.
Oh my god, man. Because who gives, like, khalas, I don't want to see heroes be gods and I don't know what. Like, I'm
Yeah, dude.
done.
I want to see
Like,
them fixing boats and fishing and shit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Okay.
there's one line I loved, and that's something we all assumed when we watched Endgame. When Cap goes to return the stones and he disappears and he stays back in time with Peggy, Bucky tells him, "I'm gonna miss you, buddy," and they hug, kind of hinting that Bucky knew what Cap was planning. And this episode confirms that. He tells Sam, when Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for a black man to be handed the shield. How could we? I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. I love that Steve and Bucky talked about this. I love that they talked about this. And
And I love that he told him, like, that shield is my only family. God, that hit me.
it's so sad.
Oh
It's
my
so sad.
God. Like, this, you forget that Bucky is misplaced in time. Like, even something like the first episode, now that I look back, and it was very good, how, like, Bucky hangs out with an 80-year-old man because that's the closest thing to him.
So
Like,
at first, I before knowing anything about his son and all of that, I assumed Bucky was just hanging out with old dudes because they're the only people he could relate with. Then they kind of connect him to like his son and stuff. But at first, I assumed like, oh yeah, that's probably like some guy who fought in World War II, and Bucky's just hanging out with him, and they're sharing war stories.
That's so cool. Like the way they do all this, and he tells him that Shield's my only family. And they don't, you know what I love? Like Sam could have said, I'm your family now, bro, but he doesn't
Yeah,
because they don't feel like that, you know? Remember in Suicide Squad when suddenly they all become family?
we're all
Like in the
yeah, yeah.
yeah, in the third act for no reason. Now even though that we needed them to say their family at that point, because literally Bucky's telling him, I have nobody else in the world. Sam's like, it's okay, bro. You know, we can come here play football if you want. You know, it's still
What I love,
logical.
they never rush anything. That's Marvel,
Yeah.
dude. Like, how long did they make us wait for Cap to say Avengers Assemble? Three fucking phases. Like they don't rush anything. Like that moment will come. I'm sure it's gonna come. But when it's ready, when we're ready, maybe it's the next episode. But whenever it is, it's gonna feel earned.
That is key. That is key for like when I'm like I told you, I'm rewatching WandaVision with my wife. So I'm watching, I'm rewatching all the episodes, and God, that show is good. By the way,
I love it. Yeah.
I'm getting re-excited watching every episode, and it dawned on me while watching the Vision episode. I'm like, again, now we care about Vision. Now I care about Ultron, who
Mhm.
was not a good villain in his own movie, but that whole Sokovia thing, which was very shitty in Age of Ultron,
Yeah.
has been such a good narrative vehicle for so many other stories. You know, like Zemos from Sokovia.
Yep.
Uh, they,
Civil War.
they
We got Civil War because of it. And that whole
yeah.
thing.
So it's like you said, it's patience, it's building characters. You know, like again, Vision and Scarlet Witch were barely built up, and now we're watching them do the most cute love story ever with that scene. You know, like
I'm loving. I'm gonna have a cool question to ask you near the end. I have a couple of really cool moments that I loved. You see Sam's nephews, the way they look at the shield, um, in a very hopeful way. So to them, it doesn't
right.
represent to them what it represents to Isaiah. They see hope in that shield, and that there's that one scene where Sam is holding the shield and his like nephew is like looking at him lovingly, drawing the stars. So there is hope for that flag, and that shield can mean something positive to the Black community. And I love how they show
It's
that through the kids.
exactly. It's retaking that thing that was horrible to them or that abused them and all that and retaking it back. And that's what
Yeah.
I love about it. That moment where he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make that shield mine. You know,
Hmm.
I'm gonna train. I'm gonna use that shield because we can't. I gotta do it for them. And the show is so fucking subtle. Like it does not beat you over the head. It does not do it. There's no speech. There's just these cute ass kids watching their uncle be a badass, and they're just happy. And that's it. It's so nice. And I love that the show's very subtle with it. You know, like he's Captain America, and this is Captain America. It's a dude in his backyard jacking up.
Yeah, dude, they sold me. Like, look, I've always liked Sam. I've always liked Falcon, but there's only so much I can like him because he's had like 7 minutes of screen time maybe in all the movies. This
Yeah.
series has really made me buy him as Captain America when he carries that shield and whatever fucking suit the Wakandans sent him, which I can't wait to fucking see. I'm
Oh yeah.
sure.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure it's gonna. If it's anything like the comics, no spoilers, but like if it's like in the comics, it's probably gonna have the red, white, and blue with like red wings or something. I think it's still gonna have wings, but
And
it's
Bucky told him, send him that, because Bucky knows he needs to be Captain America.
exactly.
So he probably custom made. And who better than the
Yeah,
Wakandans? Like,
vibranium, dude. Like the fact that he doesn't have the super
and,
soldier serum, he's got a vibranium fucking suit. He's good. Now I can buy
and,
it.
and Africa. Like it's Mother Africa,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
helping an African American. Like it's so cool, with the help of a white guy, but still,
I
the
can't.
white wolf.
I cannot wait for that reveal. I can't wait to fucking see him show up in that fucking suit and kick some ass.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a couple of scenes. So the Flag Smashers attack the GRC. That is going to be the main. It's in New York, so that's going to be the main
Yeah.
thing that episode 6 is going to revolve, and all the
It
characters are
looks
going to
it
converge.
looks like it looks like a flash mob. Have you seen the
Yeah, yeah.
trailer?
It
It looks
looks.
like a flash mob.
It
Look
looks.
up flash mobs. They're look the
It
same.
happens at
They're
malls
just-
mostly, generally. And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So there's a post-credit scene in this one, and it's John Walker working on His own
Shitty.
shields. Like, I don't get it. Like, does he know what's gonna happen if he tries to use that shield?
It's a Home Depot shield, you know,
Like,
it's a IKEA shield.
he's definitely lost his mind multiple times throughout this episode. He says the phrase, I am Captain America. So I think he's gonna, before he becomes US agent, he's gonna be this like shitty bastardized Captain America in denial. Like, no, I'm still
Right.
Captain America holding a shitty homemade shield. He's gonna look pretty pathetic. I, I'm guessing he's gonna have like a fight against Sam, the new Captain America, and someone's gonna film it on their cell phone. Like, look, he's
Oh,
the new
definitely.
Captain America.
Definitely. He
Something like
represents
that.
everything. Yeah, he represents everything. The Flag Smashers are just going to be filler. Sam's battle is going to be against, fake ass Captain America.
Mhm.
And Winter Soldier's battle, because is going to be whether to kill Carly or not,
Yeah.
because like he's trying not to be a killer. It's his, and Zemo put it in his head, like, James, you're the only one who can do this.
Mhm.
Like, and she's being radicalized. There's no end to her radicalization. Like, so you need to put a bullet in her. There's no other way. And Zemo's kind of right, because they're showing us that Carly's just being an asshole. She's not stopping, very
Terrorist.
annoyingly. This is where the show drops its subtlety. Like, I think they put all their brain power in some stuff, and how Carly is just, yeah, we are criminals. Shouldn't we be criminals? Like, oh my god, like, that's so bad. So
Horrible.
bad. It's
Horrible.
okay though. It's okay. I give them a pass. I can take some shitty villains, but god, they're such a bad part of the show. So now all we have is John Walker
Mhm.
being sent to the raft, I assume, or some sort of, taking him out, and Sam, finally, we have Sam finally taking his responsibility, taking up the shield with
Mhm.
all the weight on it, whether the shame of the history and making it something else, and Bucky redeeming himself, and like you said, you've been avenging, but now you need to redeem yourself. That's
Yeah.
it. So I think it's just going to be a badass battle with a couple of good moments. Carly is just going to be like, whatever, I hope she's not part of any like thunderbolts or whatever.
She's getting killed. She's gonna get killed. I'm pretty sure. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah.
Final question. Given the choice between, you can only choose one, Marvel MCU movies or MCU TV. You can only have one of them for the rest of your life. Would you
Wow.
rather
That's a
stick
tough question. TV. Easy.
at TV at this point, huh?
You know why? Because we're getting, like, movies have been kind of like, some movies have been fillers, right?
Yeah.
Like when you watch, even, no matter how good, I mean, I really enjoyed the second Spider-Man. I really
Mhm.
like Jake Gyllenhaal and that and stuff, but they're putting so much money in a filler at the end of the day, because it's like between 1 and 3, and they want to just put some story in. TV, if it's at this level, I could see 6 episode limited series of Spider-Man, then 6 episode limited series of Iron Man, and then six
Yeah.
episode limited series. So if they somehow find this to be more, bankable for them, this would be amazing, because then it would become comic books.
Yeah.
Like, you get runs instead of getting 2 hours of this bloated story that doesn't need to be 2 hours. I don't mind watching a 4-5 part episode Ant-Man if it's funny as hell and it's
Mhm.
adventures and it's all that, because we're watching, like you said, Bucky and Vision and all these B team, but their stories are almost as better than some of the movies, like. So I think if it stays at this level, it's TV for me.
I'm struggling with this one. I was like, damn, what would I choose? Because I worry that like on TV we'd never get an Infinity War or an Endgame. Like that could only be done in movies. So I'm like, I do love those, but everything leading up to Infinity War and Endgame, I think could be done better as a TV show. So the
So maybe, like, yeah, maybe you said something cool. Like, we would have those filler movies, instead of being movies, they'd be series. Like the
and
first Thor, the second Thor, whatever,
and then
and
Endgame.
then, yeah, and then Endgame, because, like, again, I would love to see Taika Waititi do a 5-part Thor Ragnarok. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Imagine the comedy, the character development, the adventures. You can't do that. And it's about timing. In TV, you get more time to flesh out characters.
Yeah.
TV, like movies, sometimes it's just like that's what happened with Ultron. It just, we had to do so much with the killing of the robots and all that stuff that it
And
lost its
it's
soul. So,
and it's amazing to get that weekly dose. Like we get almost 1 hour of Marvel
oh
every
yeah.
week. Like it's so fun to look forward to. It's nice. It's
I'm
entertaining.
telling you, man, it's my Saturday night, like Saturday morning. I wake up early in the morning, put an episode, feel great about it. Talk to you at noon. It's really, I can't wait for Loki.
Yeah.
What's coming after Loki?
I don't know. Moon Knight. I don't know when Moon
Oh
Knight
my
is coming, but
God,
I'm so
Moon
fucking
Knight,
excited about Moon Knight. Just all
man,
eyes
Moon Knight.
fucking amazing. So
And they're not scared. They're pushing the art, like they're pushing the 13. Like,
yeah.
but Sam says shit a bunch of times. People are being shot. By the way, fun fact: we were saying the second episode feels like John Wick. It's the writer of John Wick who wrote it.
The third,
Yeah.
I still don't like that third episode very much.
No, I love it. It's ridiculous. It has the best moment ever.
It does. It does. It does. Dany, thank you for being on this week. Thank you for talking episode 5.
Thank you for having me, Anthony.
I think this episode was called Truth, based on the comic run with Isaiah. By the way, I would love to see an Isaiah Bradley prequel series at some point. I know it might be a bit too intense, but I would just
It's
love
miserable.
miserable.
It would be miserable. It's just
Miserable.
like
But I want
nothing
I want to
good.
see that shit, man. I want to see that shit.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm gonna have Danny's info in the description. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram. Leave a comment,
Thank
like
you.
the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.
Do not worry.